All right, so today we're going to be discussing something more valuable than experience, as the title says. Something more valuable than experience. Now I'll go straight to it. This quality is discernment. Discernment is more valuable than experience. But bear with me. So let me explain now why it is so. There's this guy in Daniel Whiteskin. I think Daniel Whiteskin, huh? Yeah. He wrote a book, The Art of Learning. In the book, he explains how he learned. Let's say that. So when he was young, when he wanted to, the person that taught him chess. He was a chess player. The person that taught him chess taught him in a very very different way than is traditionally done. He like emptied the board and they only started with purely the basics, very very basic things. I think they just started with the king and the pawn, and then he learned that king and pawn until he mastered it until he could. He got to the point where he could strategize and manipulate them subconsciously, unconsciously. He didn't have to really think about it. It became second nature to him. After that, then they brought in the knight. I think then he will master the knight again, all the knight's movements, all his possibilities, all his capabilities, all the maneuvers he can do. So he kept on learning them layer by layer. So that the way they're doing is like, by the time he finished with the pawn and the king, when they bring the knight, you can see that now he can do the pawn and the king without conscious effort. So all this conscious effort is only on the knight. All these ones is doing it unconsciously. So it is not stressful. By the time he learns the knight, they bring in the other pieces. He's now doing the knight, the king, and the rook unconsciously, and the pawns unconsciously. Then, so he kept on layering it like this, so that by the time he was done, he could move the whole table without effort. He didn't have to really crack his brain. It was very, very effortless. So this led him to go quite far in chess. I think he became an international master. That's a bit. It's not a grandmaster. It's not grandmaster, but it's quite high up. So at some point when he was about 21, he now left chess. Some things happened. He lost interest in chess. He now went in. Get this. He went into martial arts, Tai Chi, push hands. It's a form of martial arts. I think that's the type that Jet Li do, where they do all those and they push. You see them going back and forth. I don't know. I really don't know, but I should think from the name push hands. But he went into this Tai Chi push hands. This guy, I think, is an American. At least he's Caucasian. He's a Westerner. He went into this Tai Chi push hands at the age of 21 as a foreigner. And in 7 years' time, he became the world champion. So we're getting some. Yeah, I'm trying to explain something. In 7 years' time, he became the world champion in this Tai Chi push hands against Chinese, against Asians that probably started learning at the age of 5 because no martial arts, they do it like gymnastics from a very, very young age. He won them as a foreigner, started late. 7 years later, just 7 years, people that have been doing it for decades, he won them. So it was because of this thing that I learned, he was able to be very successful, extremely successful in two totally different disciplines. So different that one is intellectual chess, the other is physical martial arts. And he was still very, very successful. You can see how vastly different they are, not just in execution, but on so many different levels, intellectual, physical. So, but this is principle of learning things until you can do it subconsciously, until you master it unconsciously, was very, very important. And that is actually the way to learn things. If you want to master things and make it look effortless, you have to learn how to do it until you can do it unconsciously. So it's a fundamental principle. That's what he learned. But now what I'm trying to tell you about discernment. You see, he learned this thing from his chess teacher only once. And he realized what he learned. He noticed the method. He noticed the methodology of his chess teacher and he applied it to the Tai Chi and he was very successful. Now, what I'm trying to go into this discernment matter is that there are a set of people that have been learning and been teaching this learning into your subconscious for probably hundreds of years. I don't know, probably hundreds of years, at least 100 years, most likely hundreds of years. These people, I know there may be other disciplines where they do it unconsciously too, but these people are called guitar players. In everywhere where I've ever seen them teach the guitar from the movie Desperado. I think there was a time he was teaching a little boy that was following him, told him to play a few chords and to just keep on playing it. The boy said, "Yes, play." He said, "Keep on playing it until, don't worry, I will tell you when to stop." So he played it for days. From there, once I saw where they were teaching a young lady how to play the guitar. It was the same thing. She had to keep on repeating chords, just keep repeating. I've heard a pastor was giving testimony when he was trying to learn the guitar and he could not finish because they're trying to just keep on playing the same thing. And he didn't have that effort. He didn't have that time. He felt that okay, he has learned this one. Let him move to the next one. But he said no, keep on playing it. So they so with guitar, basically, I think at least from my own experience, is that they teach it into the subconscious. So when you see someone like Carlos Santana playing as in so skillfully, most of that thing is subconscious. It's like driving a car. You know, when you're driving a car, you can still be playing with your phone because you're doing. There are a lot of things that are quite involved in driving a car. I'm sure when we used to drive manual cars, or if you're still driving a manual car, but you do it unconsciously because remember when you started, you have to be thinking, okay, how high do I pull off the the clutch before I step on the accelerator so it doesn't do that vroom, all those stuff. But when you have mastered it, you do it unconsciously. You drive from your house to the hospital, from your house to work. You don't even realize that you drove. So that's how the brain is supposed to work. You do all those things unconsciously. But this magic formula that was able to make this guy to be so successful in two very, very different disciplines. These chess players have had that formula, and for the most part, most likely they didn't realize it. I haven't really interviewed them, but I would say because they didn't write that book. And if you knew that thing, it is something that you should teach because it's a very, very deep concept. It's very, very deep. It's very, very profitable. This guy has made, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was a very successful book because that concept is very, very deep. It's very, very useful of learning into the subconscious, which they knew but never took off of, or probably didn't even notice that they knew it. So what I'm trying to say is that him, because of discernment, he learned this thing just once from this chess master and he applied it somewhere else and you can see the kind of success he recorded. How they, because of most likely lack of discernment, they didn't even realize what they had learned. They didn't realize the value of what they had learned. They had been doing these things for years and they were able to apply it to other disciplines and to reap the full benefits. So they had experienced it time and time again. The teachers had taught it time and time again and have not applied it to other aspects of their lives. While him experienced it only once and applied it to every aspect of his life. So you can see how experience is more important than how discernment is more important than experience, because the more discernment you have, the less experience you will need. You can only need to experience it once to reap the benefits, to reap the lessons that come out of it. And the less discernment you have, the more experience you waste, because you can experience the thing 10 times and you still not realize what you are learning, or the value of it, or the applicability of it to other aspects or other dimensions. So it's like if someone that has discernment comes maybe to a new factory, to a new office, you might quickly realize that people are just poorly motivated. They are demoralized. They don't like the way management is treating them. Somebody else that doesn't have discernment, doesn't have emotional intelligence, will just come and think people are lazy and he doesn't understand and just be shouting and be giving orders. So you can stay in that place for 10 years and still be addressing the same wrong problem, giving deadlines and threats and things, having employee turnover and nothing is happening, and somebody else that realizes what is actually happening will come and just change a few things. Start talking to people more gently, asking them what is their problem, how is their own personal lives, how is the job affecting them, what would they like, what would they need to do their job, and things will change because he had discernment. So discernment is far more important than the experience that they keep on shouting about in interviews. So if you're an interviewee, if you are human resources, you should take note of that. If you are an employee, in a few more videos, I will explain how you can probably begin to get out this information that discernment is more important than experience. Experience is highly overrated. So tomorrow, I will make a video and teach how. I think I'll be making videos every day from now on, every day. So if you're interested, you can put on the notifications so you can follow, you can keep track. I will make a video of how to discernment, how to see it in other people, and how to generate it in your own self. So, my name is Funom Zock-Sock, and I'm going to be making videos and teaching about God's perspective. Everything I learned, even this discernment matter, it was God that taught me. So I'm going to be teaching God's view on things, God's view of things, and correcting a lot of social stuff. Right now, we are working on social stuff. We spent a few years teaching me moral corrections. Now we are working on social corrections. So we are going to be teaching why things don't work, even though you think they're supposed to work, and all those kind of stuff on the social level. So basically, what I'm dealing with now is social systems engineering. That's what I'm going to be dealing with on this channel. But because socials are highly dependent on morals, I'll be going back and forth between the morals and the man's, so to speak, soul. Actually, is foundational to it. But basically, you'll notice that most of the video will be dealing with social stuff. So tomorrow I'll make the video about how to discern discernment and how to generate discernment. It was nice talking to all of you. I hope you had fun. Hope it was useful. I believe it was very useful to me. So see you next time.